First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Tonight, a community is grieving after a shooting at Michigan State University.
This comes 5 years after the Marjory Stoneman Douglas shooting in Parkland, Florida.
Good evening, I'm Allison Williams.
And I'm Camila Pereira. Welcome to WUFT's First at 5. We begin with the shooting on the Michigan State University campus that left 3 people dead and 5 more injured. NBC's Chris Polone tells us many survivors are feeling shock and anger.
Videos posted on social media show the terror and fear gripping Michigan State University as a gunman roamed the campus.
I thought that I was going to die.
Claire Papulius was in Berkey Hall attending a night class just after 8 when the gunman walked in. 3 or 4, really, I could hear gunshots, directly behind my head. And I could see the smoke, gunpowder or something from the weapon firing, and then I could smell. And immediately I dropped to the floor. She says students in the back helped the wounded as others broke open a window and helped survivors escape.
I will never forget the screams of my classmates.
Claire called her mother as the attack was still unfolding.
I heard 3 gunshots and screaming, and we jumped in our car and drove up there.
Hundreds of officers swarmed the campus. Police say the attacker killed 2 students in Berkey Hall before killing another near the student union just down the street. Then, after a short manhunt, police found the 43-year-old gunman dead. They say he shot himself.
I'm enraged. I'm angry.
Students' emotions boiling over from the constant threat of violence.
It shouldn't be that we are having to protect ourselves by barricading doors, hiding in basements. We have to be calling our loved ones and not wanting to hang up the phone because we're not sure if it's the last time we'll talk to them.
Now, as yet another American campus reels from the shock and grief of what should be the unthinkable, the search for answers is just getting underway.
So far, investigators are finding no past connection between the gunman and the university. Police found a note in his pockets threatening his old high school and middle school in New Jersey. All 5 public schools in that New Jersey district closed today as a precaution.
We now turn our attention to Parkland, Florida, where 5 years ago on Valentine's Day, a gunman opened fire in Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. WUFT's Ophelie Jacobson is in Parkland right now.
Words cannot express the tremendous grief our students, employees, families, school district, and community have experienced as a result of the tragedy that occurred at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School on February 14th, 2018.
Task-assigned Superintendent Dr. Valerie Wanza visited Silver Lakes Middle School to participate in a tribute to the victims.
Their names will forever be etched in our hearts. Broward County Public Schools will never forget our fallen angels.
The school's commemoration played an integral part in the Broward County Public Schools Day of Service and Love. At Plantation Middle School, students handed out breakfast to first responders, turning a day of tragedy into a day of hope and strength.
We stick together and we support one another and we support our families. And again, we remember that we can keep going forward. We can turn a tragedy into a positive, and we continue to do that day in and day out.
While still keeping the memory of the victims at the center of it all.
We reserve a day like today, or this February 14th each year, to just remember the victims. It's not about causes. It's not about things that need to change. The 14th of February, since Gina and her classmates and her teachers was taken, is dedicated just to them, to their memories.
Because despite how much time has passed, the pain has not gone away.
There's always a hole in your heart because Gina held a very special place in my heart, my wife's heart, my son's heart. She was an integral part of our family, and her absence is felt every day.
Tonight, a vigil will be held on the University of Florida's campus to remember those lost 5 years ago. March for Our Lives Gainesville will be hosting the vigil at 7:30 p.m. at Plaza of the Americas. There is also an option to join virtually through the March for Our Lives Facebook page. Participants are encouraged to bring their own candles to the event, and electric candles are preferred.
Student survivors of the Parkland shooting founded the March for Our Lives movement, calling for gun control legislation. Kevin Trejos was a senior at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas when the shooting happened. On this anniversary, he has a message of hope for all of us.
And also just hug your loved ones. Appreciate what you have and try not to be afraid. The world kind of sucks sometimes, but there's plenty of good, and you can always be a beacon of hope and a beacon
to listen to the full
love.
Visit WUFT.org.
An outpouring of support for the family of a former UF player. 21-year-old Caleb Boateng died on Thursday night from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Boateng transferred as an offensive lineman to Florida from Clemson in 2021. A GoFundMe established for his family hoped to raise $15,000. By today, donations had topped $26,000, and messages of memories filled the comments. It's not clear if the university was aware Boateng might have been experiencing mental health issues or depression. To reach the National Suicide and Crisis Prevention Lifeline, call or text 988. For other state and county mental health resources, you can reach out to the services listed on your screen. And for UF's Counseling and Wellness Center crisis support, call 352-392-1575.
It is an absolutely beautiful day today in Gainesville. Clear and blue skies, 76 degrees, wind temperatures at 7 miles per hour. It is just absolutely beautiful today. Now looking at those 24-hour temperature changes, the temperatures have increased from 5 to 10 degrees in north central Florida, and that is above average for this time of year, especially in February. Now looking at what's going on right now, 78 degrees in Gainesville. Pretty above average temperatures, and if we're looking towards the west, we're seeing temperatures in the low 80s, which is very, very high for this time of year. Now, if you're going out on the town tonight, 7 p.m., it's going to be mostly clear, especially if you're bringing a date out for Valentine's Day, 64 degrees, and then at 10 p.m., it's going to drop to the low 60s with generally clear skies. And then those overnight lows will drop to the low 50s, but will not be as cold as usual. Back to you.
The City of Gainesville held its 2023 State of the City Address with hopes of more economic development in East Gainesville.
And as unidentified objects continue to appear in the sky, U.S. lawmakers want more transparency from the Biden administration.
UFT-TV News.
About a month and a half into his tenure, Mayor Harvey Ward delivered his State of the City address at the Cade Museum for Creativity and Invention.
WUFT's Troy Myers went to the museum to listen. He files this report.
Gainesville's 2023 State of the City address asking attendees for a moment of silence for the victims of the Michigan State shooting. Reducing gun violence in the city, one of the major talking points in his speech. As he continued, Ward incorporated short videos from commissioners on issues in the community.
Certainly GPD is doing everything they can already. We're reaching out to work with other law enforcement agencies, with other elected officials in other cities. We've got some plans coming. But the most important things we're going to be doing is talking more with neighborhoods that are fearful of gun violence.
As he continued, Ward incorporated short videos from commissioners on issues in the community. Commissioner Cynthia Chestnut announced upgrades to Citizen Stadium and her goal for economic development in East Gainesville. Commissioner Brian Eastman spoke about making the city more bicycle and pedestrian friendly. Towards the end of the mayor's speech, he announced the launch of Thrive GNV, a website housing data from fire response time to demographics within the city. But what Mayor Ward is most proud of is,
so far with this commission, is that we went from having 5 interim charter officers to 1 interim charter officer.
Mayor Harvey Ward concluded his speech with appreciation.
Gainesville is special because you are special. Thank you. Have a great Valentine's Day.
Klein Myers, WUFT News.
Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley says she's running for president. Haley is the first Republican challenger for former President Donald Trump. She served as Trump's ambassador to the United Nations for the first 2 years of his term. Haley's first campaign event will take place tomorrow in South Carolina.
The military briefed U.S. senators today about the balloon and 3 other objects shot down in U.S. and Canadian airspace. The military says it's recovering a lot of the wreckage of the giant high-altitude balloon, but is still working to find the smaller objects. One senator said afterward that the briefers did not think the other 3 were on the order of the Chinese balloon and did not think they're from aliens. Rather than UFO, they used the term UAP, which means unidentified aerial phenomena. This morning was a little too chilly for me, Allison.
Yes, I was not expecting to be back in long sleeves this February. Morgan, will this cool weather be staying around for too long?
Camila, Allison, we're actually going to see the heat picking back up throughout the week with temperatures in the low 80s, more coming up after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
This week we'll have temperatures in the high temperatures, 80 degrees on Wednesday, 80 degrees in Gainesville, 80 degrees in Ocala, and 81 degrees in the villages that we are seeing happening on Wednesday in our high temperatures. Also, we're still seeing that on Thursday, temperatures in 82 degrees, increasing warming trends temperatures, 82 degrees in Gainesville, 84 degrees in Ocala.
High school basketball playoffs are underway with 4 girls basketball games set for tonight.
And stay tuned to learn about a local boys basketball star, Shailey Klein, has more with sports coming up next.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Shailey Klein. There's a full slate of high school girls basketball games tonight. 3 local teams are competing in the Class 1A regional final. The Hawthorne Hornets are hosting the Newberry Panthers. Meanwhile, the Trenton Tigers travel to Wildwood to take on the 22-1 Wildcats. PK Yonge is playing in the Class 3A regional semifinal against Masters Academy on their home court. Finally, Gainesville faces off against Land O'Lakes in the Class 6A regional semifinal at home. All games tip off at 7 p.m. The Santa Fe High School boys basketball team has tallied an impressive 20-6 record this season. Averaging 15 points per game, senior point guard Dontrell Jenkins is leaving his final mark on the court this season.
Dontrell Jenkins picked up a basketball for the first time when he was just a year old. A passion for the game immediately sparked inside him. Throughout the past 3 years at Santa Fe, Dontrell has been a force on the basketball court. But his leadership skills have made an even greater impact within the Santa Fe basketball program.
He's the heart and soul. He's the floor general. He gets everybody in the right spots. He gives them positive praise and criticism when they need it.
Dontrell, he's a good leader. He pushes everybody. He keeps the energy up in practice. And if anybody's like slacking off or not going 100%, he's always going to be on them.
The starting point guard led the Raiders to a state championship appearance his sophomore year. After averaging 17 points per game his junior year, Dontrell was named All-Area Player of the Year. Although he's racked up numerous accolades, his focus senior year is mentoring younger players.
Have fun with your team and show them things that you didn't know when you was coming into 9th grade and just being a leader.
Dontrell Jenkins has not only left his mark on the basketball court, he is also a standout athlete on the baseball field and on the football field.
He shared the key to juggling 3 sports: rest. One of the challenges of being a multi-sport athlete is dealing with injuries. When he faces setbacks like injuries, Dontrell stays grounded in his faith.
I just go straight to God and ask him help me stay strong and push through the days that I was struggling in.
As his senior year comes to a close, Dontrell is taking in every moment with his teammates.
Santa Fe rode an 18-game win streak before falling in the district championship. Although they lost, the Raiders still advanced to the regionals as the top seed thanks to their stellar regular season performance. Santa Fe looks to bounce back against Palm Bay in the Class 4A region quarterfinal on Thursday. The Gators men's basketball team takes on Ole Miss tomorrow. Florida is coming off an 88-80 loss to Vanderbilt over the weekend. The Commodores shot 52% from beyond the arc and the Gators had no answer. The Rebels also suffered a tight loss to South Carolina on Saturday. Tip-off is at 6:30 p.m. in Exactech Arena. The Gator softball team hits the road for a game against Jacksonville tonight. Florida is 3-0 to start the 2023 season. They've outscored their opponents 41-2 in the past 3 games and posted 2 shutouts against Boston College and Illinois State. The first pitch is at 6 p.m. tonight. The Florida men's and women's swimming and diving teams are in College Station for the SEC championships. The men's team is seeking its 11th straight SEC crown. Meanwhile, the women's team is looking to come out on top after 3 second-place finishes in the past 4 seasons. The meet started today and concludes Saturday. That's it for sports.
Before we go, one last check on the weather.
Tomorrow morning, we're seeing temperatures drop to the low 50s. 6 a.m. we'll have some patchy fog, 50 degrees, and then at 8 a.m. it's going to be mostly sunny, still in the low 50s, and then 10 a.m. we're warming up quickly to the mid 60s. Now looking at the rest of the week, Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to see those high average temperatures in the low 80s for this time of year. Friday, we're seeing potential showers that are probably going to be happening in the late morning, early afternoon, high temperatures of 70s. And then Saturday, temperatures dropping back to the low 60s. Sunday, Monday, high 70s, still sunny. Back to you.
Thanks, Morgan. BBC World News is next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
But your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a good night.